Hi, I'm Jake.
And I am Tim.
And what we have here is an extremely unique text. This is the Cepher.
According to Dr. Robinson, it's the Cepher.
Okay, so here is our caveat. This particular work is going to include quite a few Hebrew language words. And in case you haven't noticed, I am not a Hebrew scholar. And neither is he.
No. But we do know one.
We do know one. So the big caveat is there's going to be a lot of words in here that I am going to mispronounce, and I apologize profusely. But it's just my lack of ignorance or my ignorance that's going to cause me to, say them wrong. This is Kentucky.
Well, and thank you to Dr. Pigeon for sending us this huge volume,
Right.
tabbed. And those aren't my favorite type of tabs, but I tell you what, whoever did those things,
Is using laser point accuracy.
those things are put in beautifully. They're just, I've never seen stick-on tabs put on so perfectly before.
Yeah, I don't know how you did it, but to whomever did that, hats off.
Yeah,
You.
good job.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about what this is, and the cover right here is going to tell us. So this is how it comes wrapped up with this reddish band as basically just a sleeve telling you what it is, because if you look at it, there's not a whole lot of explanation.
Right, and it is not leather bound. This
No.
is probably some sort of faux leather.
Yeah, it's a very sturdy hardback. So let's take a look at this. So this particular work, it has all of the previously canonized text.
And
Now,
this next line is really what's going to set this. Now, Dr. Pigeon is very, very careful to say this is not a Bible.
but that's kind of a trick question, because what does Bible mean?
Right. It just means book.
It means book.
Right. So he is specifically calling these things scriptures.
Yeah.
So he's being very specific in his wording. And we'll get to some of that in a minute. Let's go back to this.
All right. So we have all of the Deuterocanon apocryphal texts.
So we have the apocryphal and or the Deuterocanon. So that's it's telling you something here. But then the next one gives us a little more.
Okay, the books of Jubilees, Cepher.
Don't even just move on. Enoch. We know that.
Enoch, Cepher, Shannoch, Jasher, 3 Ezra, and 4 Ezra.
Which
is,
those are confusing. The books of Ezra, they have their own Wikipedia page. They're so confusing. Yeah, they're literally that confusing.
Okay, so here's something that's going to stick out for a total of
87 books. Now the accepted canon in the Orthodox, generally speaking, these are the books that the church has accepted, has 66.
Right.
So 87, that's
21 more than what I would be used to.
right, 21 more than we would be used to. And I'm not exactly sure how many more the Catholic canon contains with the Apocrypha, but it's not 21.
Good question. Yeah, I believe it's significantly less than that.
Right.
Okay, so here is what you're going to find that's absolutely superbly interesting: the transliterated sacred names and titles.
Right.
So as we go through the Cepher, you're gonna see names where you would expect something like the word God or the word Lord.
Right.
And that's going to be transliterated into kind of what
Elohim, Adonai, Elion, all
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
words that I'm moderately familiar with, but yet struggle to pronounce. So we have 3,100 other transliterated Hebrew names and places.
So they're going to be not having their either Latin source name, their Greek source name. They're going to have their Hebrew source name.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is something that as you're going through, there is a legend in here. Well, we'll get into that in a minute. Okay. The Aleph Tav in over 10,000 places that otherwise go without translation.
Right. Which this is controversial.
Yeah.
Because
most different.
It's in there a bunch of times. That Aleph and Tav, which is this guy right here.
Yeah. No. It says. Oh yeah, that right there.
Yeah. The Aleph and the Tav, and basically it's the first and the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which Jesus said, "I'm the Alpha and Omega." If he spoke Greek. Now, if he actually spoke Hebrew, then he would say, "I'm the Aleph and the Tav." And it is. Let's just say it's very interesting that that's left untranslated all the way throughout the Bible. Let's leave it there.
Okay. I can deal with that. So, and to polish this off, original maps, a Paleo-Hebrew reference chart, and family history reference pages. Nothing crazy there. However, when you get to it, there's some interesting stuff in the back.
Right. Well, and full disclosure, not only are we not Hebrew scholars, we are also not unfamiliar with this text. We've been familiar with this text for several months. We found it fascinating, and we wanted our own copy, and Dr. Pigeon came through for us, so we really appreciate that.
Right, definitely. So if you want to learn more than we're going to be able to tell you in this video, you can go to the www.cepher.net and hey, look at this thing. Look
Made
at
in
that.
America.
Made
Look
in
at
America.
Dr. Pigeon being all modern. They have an app for this bad boy.
Oh, nice, nice. And they, I don't even, Cepher Yim?
Yeah, let's-
Come on, let me do one. Okay, worship
Music and custom apparel. They have shirts.
I'd like a shirt.
They have shirts.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into it. So we've already mentioned the tabs, which are, you know, a very stark visual right through here. So when you're talking 87 books, yeah, you're going to notice immediately, like right here, the addition to Esther, next to it, Judith, right here, Dragon.
But see, those aren't the ones that stand out. It's Jubilees and Enoch and Jasher. You know, those are the ones that you don't see, and he's included them in one volume.
Okay, so here's the cool thing. Before even opening this up, obviously I was reading things that are you know, very common. Deuteronomy, Numbers.
Right.
But wait, flip it around to the other side. You see that?
And it has their Hebrew root name,
Yeah.
basically.
I would butcher every single one of those so badly, I'm not going to even try. But it is there from the get-go.
This thing is so fascinating. We're 7 minutes in, and we haven't even opened the book yet.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to do my best to make this as short as possible, however, covering some serious material. So the first few pages are going to be, you know, just your normal table of contents. This is going to be really...
Look at Dr. Pigeon. What do they call that page? The presentation page? I don't need your stinking presentation page.
No, he's got more important
I got
things
more
to deal
important
with.
things to do.
Like his monstrous Bible. Okay, so all that's in here. So here's the contrast. First Timothy, Timotheus Rishon.
Right.
So when you are looking at it from this direction, you're going to see First Timothy, but
That
if
is-
you go the other direction,
Where did he get
That's
these
what-
tabs? Are those custom made?
I don't know.
That's pretty...
I don't know. So
I did not catch that.
What happens with tabs like these, if you go and put them on yourself, you're going to get them all crooked, and it's going to look terrible, and there's no easy way to put on. Man, they've somehow fit 87 tabs on this with laser point accuracy. Kudos to ever.
All right, we're only in the preface. We gotta move.
Okay, so the preface, this is something you absolutely have to read if you're going to appreciate what is in the Cepher. Because it talks about the different names and why they transliterate certain things. So just like we had said earlier, God, Lord, Elohim, what was the other ones that you were referencing?
Adonai.
Adonai. Okay, so a lot of this stuff is
Yahweh.
written out specifically like this, the name of Yahusha. Sorry if I'm
Right.
butchering it.
Yahuwah.
It basically talks about how in the Old Testament you have Joshua, and in the New Testament you have Jesus, and it's the same name.
Right.
And how he comes about it is written all through here.
Yahuwah is his explanation of the Tetragrammaton, which is Yahweh.
Right.
Which is the Yadveh Vavhe.
Right.
Or Yadhe Vavhe, sorry.
And that this just keeps going on, and it also takes things that were in the Greek and also goes through those transliterations. And this is big, this is beefy, this is a preface that you have to go through.
Preface.
What?
Yeah, page 666. Yipe. Okay, so now we are in Genesis, which is also called Bereshith.
Okay.
Now, give me just a second. You keep talking. I want to compare something real quick.
What are you getting? You get it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
this is cool.
Which is very interesting because this is really not something that we have seen outside of the Cepher and one other group called the Hebrew Roots movement, which he doesn't seem to be tied to. He doesn't seem to be tied to the Hebrew Roots movement. I'm not exactly sure where the origination of this is. I do know that Hebrew was originally a hieroglyph. It was originally pictures.
Right.
And what's really interesting about this is the yod, which means and.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ve, which I'm not sure where it is on here because I am not Hebrew and I don't know the vav, which is
hey,
which
they,
means
is that the they?
yes. So that means behold, nail, and hand. So it could, if this is true, would be behold, hand, behold, nail for Yahweh. Why? It's
So if that's back in the Old Testament, hand, nail, who do we know?
right.
That kind of had that going on in
Right.
the New Testament.
So this guy's point in all of this is that every Hebrew letter, every Hebrew word, and even that Aleph and Tav that went untranslated, it all points to Jesus.
So if you can wrap your head around that, then that just made this entire work way more cool than I originally thought.
Right. So, and you look at all of those letters, and here, just hit the pause button, screenshot it, check it out. You can actually find this online. There's a ton of information available about this, but these are more not mainline taught among Hebrew scholars.
Well, one thing that I've heard when you're studying Hebrew,
close up.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty. Is that it's hard to appreciate Hebrew without actually being able to read the Hebrew itself.
Right.
Okay.
So
you're thumbing through this. You want me to grab the camera while you?
No,
both hands
because
on it?
we're not taking time. I just want
But
to.
I like this one.
This is however you say that, and then how does he say the Genesis?
Okay, it's right on the other side.
Yeah, so it's similar. Bereshith, and then Beresh, whatever that says.
Right.
Bereshith, I guess.
Yeah.
So close. That's all we're gonna do with that guy because we don't have time.
So as you go through it, you'll notice. I mean, it looks like a typical Bible, not a whole lot of margin for.
But you will
notes in
notice the Hebrew is emboldened.
Right. So I believe that every time there's a transliteration, he marks it off in dark, bold
Right, and he
letters.
also points out every time that Aleph and Tav are untranslated, which he believes in his mind is a direct point to Jesus. Some believe it is just a place marker or a placeholder where the scholar stopped, and some people just believe it's like a space. So we don't know, but his theory is as interesting as any out there.
Right, and if it was literally in the original text 10,000 times, does that mean that it's important?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, so moving on a little bit. So same thing through Leviticus. Let's power through the Old Testament.
Let's get to the fun stuff.
Okay. Let's. All right. Here's Second Baruch. Is that gonna be fun enough for you? Also called the second book of the prophet Baruch, also known as the Apocalypse of Baruch.
Right, which Baruch was Jeremiah's writer.
Right. So down at the bottom, we do have a little bit of helps. Not a ton of those
Not
throughout here.
cross references. I guess he's assuming if you get this thing, you're smart enough to not need a lot of help.
Yeah, you're probably going to have a massive library or at least access to the internet.
Right.
Okay. So
Megillah, that's Esther, I believe.
no, also called the Roll of Lamentations.
Okay, gotcha.
Man, it's just cool. There it is, Lamentations.
Yeah,
And-
Esther's called something similar to that, but I can't remember what it's called.
Okay, well here's Esther. Megillah. Oh, you were right.
Okay, so it's just a section. The Megillah is a
Yeah.
section, apparently.
Ecter, E-C-T-E-R. Weird. Cool. Okay, let's
Bell and the Dragon. Of course, you've missed Jubilees. You've missed Enoch.
Oh yeah. Susanna.
We'll probably have to do a follow-up on this just to...
There's so much in here. It's difficult to go on one.
But
video.
anyway, go to that book and show them that thing.
Wait. What are we talking about? Because there's a lot of things in that book.
The Book of Acts.
Oh. Okay, let me thumb through to the end of Acts. And let's see if there is a little something that we wouldn't expect. Okay, there's James. Oh, my fingers.
Poor Jake.
I know. It's early.
For those of you that are wondering, it's like 6:15 a.m. So
Yeah. This is my happy time. Okay.
we have Acts 28.
Acts 28, the end of Acts. or
Then
dun,
there's
dun,
Acts
dun.
29.
All right, so a little something extra that we wouldn't expect to be in here. So as you go through this entire book, you're going to notice things that are, not normally going to be in the 66 books that most of us know. And so that's something just makes it...
I will have to admit, having Acts 29 in there is probably one of the most...
You look really conflicted right now.
Unsettling is the word I'm going to use.
Unsettling?
Unsettling.
Okay.
Because the New Testament is so modern as compared to the Old.
Right.
And to have something added to that, I'm just going to say unsettling.
So where does this come from then?
Well, it was...
Question mark. I'm going to leave that open.
Well, it was found in somebody's book or something.
Somebody's book?
Yeah.
I got books that have stuff in it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is one thing interesting. So if you're wanting to go through and like compare this to your normal Bible, you're gonna
find some eccentric things.
Eccentric things. I can deal with that. And like we said, very interesting. Okay, so there's the end of Revelation, and we go directly into the maps. So the paper that the maps are on,
family history.
Oh yeah, no, that's actually really cool. Not a ton of maps back here. I mean, he's gonna show you.
He doesn't seem to me to be a guy that cares a whole lot about the maps section.
And you know what? I kind of appreciate that myself. Yeah. I mean, you got this huge work right here. There's plenty of places you can go to find different.
So family history, what is that? Oh,
okay.
Our family history.
Yeah, no, this is a legit thing that you can use to track.
He obviously had these tabs custom made.
Oh yeah,
for
family
this.
History.
You're not going to go.
Oh, look at that family history on that side, and then in the Hebrew or the original family history there.
Wow, who knew that was going to happen?
Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. And these are actually useful.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to the normal one page.
So you could actually, if you pass this down, you could have the family lineage preserved within a volume.
Yeah.
Now, here is what makes this very interesting. What makes this very interesting is Dr. Pigeon has taken text that we're going to say most, which is a fact. Most would consider non-inspired. They would consider not part of your Bible. And he's put them together in one volume. Now, I have the Book of Enoch. I have all of them. But they're not included in, like, your Apocrypha. They're not included in your Catholic Bibles. So, for raw convenience alone, if that's all I was looking for, where I want every text, the Bible, which he does not call this the Bible, plus any other thing that may have been considered Scripture at any time throughout the history of the world.
Which is why it says all of the previously canonized texts.
Right. Because there are non-extant biblical texts.
Extant. Man, that's a strange word.
Well, it just means that we cannot find it. I'm trying to be real careful here because this guy has done such a great job putting this thing together. But most people believe that, like the Book of Jasher, the Book of Enoch, would be untrustworthy because the copies were found to be 2nd or 3rd century, which would have been long after these people died.
But that's most people today, because at one point or another throughout the annals
at time, one point, the Book of Enoch
was considered canon.
Was considered trustworthy. Mm-hmm. And the Book of Jasher is quoted in the Bible as a source to look for further information.
Which is very interesting.
But again, it's considered non-extant.
Right.
So that means it's considered not trustworthy, but Dr. Pigeon takes a different point of view in this.
So what we have, in a nutshell, is almost everything that you're used to seeing with some transliterated terms that make it very, very cool. We didn't even go over the sections where it refers to Jesus as that other word, the other name that I
right. And in Hebrews, he says, I am the Aleph and the Tav.
Right.
Not so the Alpha and the Omega.
As you go through it, you're going to see that again in those dark, bold letters. Oh, we're probably really low in time.
No, we're good. Keep going.
We're good? Okay. So this is a work with 87 books in it, 66 of which are going to be relatively true to what you know,
other than the transliterations.
other than transliterations
Right.
and the additions like Acts 29.
Yeah.
Whereas you normally have 28.
And again,
chapters.
that is the most unsettling thing in there is, but then again, his goal was to preserve everything that he considered to be once inspired. That's why the inclusion of Acts is a little strange to me. But you know what? He's smarter than I am, and I'm not going to try and pick that apart.
Oh man, how much smarter than me is he then?
Well, and here's the thing. I read his Got Questions review.
Very thorough answers.
And very critical of his work, and it was called a non-scholarly work. And I can't imagine how disappointing something like that could be to a man like Dr. Pigeon, who is obviously a scholar, who has obviously studied, and who has probably put his life into this thing. I would not consider this a non-scholarly work.
No.
I would consider this a well thought out. Now, what it is it based on approved traditional scholarship? There's no doubt, no. No, it's not. However, to call it a non-scholarly work, the insight that he has on stuff that most would consider obscure is profound.
Right. When you go through and read some of the answers to the questions, he's got something similar to frequently asked questions on his website. So I highly encourage you to go to thecepher.net.
Yeah, he's a feisty fella.
Yeah. Yeah. The type of guy you do not want to back into a verbal corner because you're probably going to end up tore up.
You're going to end up looking stupid.
Yeah. You're going to end up... I do that frequently, and I do not want that. I do not want that. But yeah, he has poured
his life.
Who knows how many countless hours of study.
He has made his life mission to see everything as a Hebrew would see it, to include the life of Jesus, which Jesus was.
Right. And occasionally you'll run up to people that are in the Christian community that do have this deep appreciation for Hebrew that most of us in Western civilization don't really fully understand.
Right.
And you got to think on a completely different level to be able to, just get to a place where you can appreciate words like this. And not just appreciate them, actually use them effectively.
Right.
So
the real question is, is Jasher, is Enoch, are they forgeries? Or were they somehow preserved, and the only ones that we have discovered are the later ones? And that's a question that's too much of a gamble for most people in Orthodox Christianity, but for Dr. Pigeon, he feels that it's trustworthy.
Right, and that's one of those things that takes a certain level of faith. Because at the end of the day, prove it.
Right. Well, and the thing is there disagreement? That's things that we don't know. For me, I am perfectly comfortable with having only 66. But I tell you what, I appreciate this work. And I appreciate the effort this man has put into this work, and we'll just leave it at that.
Yep. So the Cepher, this is what is this the most interesting thing we've had cross our table?
This is the most interesting scripture, we're not going to call it Bible, that I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like it. And if Dr. Pigeon was to send us a second copy so I could have my own, my feelings wouldn't be hurt.
It's my precious.
Okay, well, sign us off, Jake.
All right. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. Share it with your neighbors. Share it with your family. And maybe find an enemy or two and share that with them as well. And always remember, life is so much sweeter when you start your day with a heaping helping of PTA&J.
It's either so much sweeter or always sweeter. We've forgotten our own slogan.
I say it. This is Kentucky.
All right, bye.
You can't take that from me.
Bye.